Since Enter the Dragon, Filipino martial arts have been a big part of fight choreography. This scene from the Born Identity, highlighting Filipino martial arts' ability to improvise weapons and use weapons in close range, was choreographed by Nick Powell with the help of Jeff Imada and Damon Carroll from the Inosanto Academy. Aaron Eckhart trained with Diana Lee Inosanto and Ron Baliki to get ready for these kinds of scenes in I, Frankenstein, which was choreographed by Ray Anthony. And here we see Rob Schneider showing off some skills he learned from Dan Inosanto when he was helping Mike Gunther and Marcus Young with the choreography for Big Stan. Not only did Dan Inosanto help Rob Schneider get ready for this film, he is credited as being an advisor on the film. So he helped the choreographers for scenes like this, and he even shows up in the end of the scene just doing a bit of a cameo, which I really enjoyed, even though this was a pretty silly movie. But the fight here was just pure Filipino martial arts. There's the legend himself, Dan Inosanto. Now, this upcoming scene from Dune was one of my favorites because it was pure Balintawak. Roger Ewan, the fight choreographer for this film, really highlighted the close range style of Balintawak in this scene. Now, you gotta ask yourself, why is Filipino martial arts so good at choreographing scenes? And that's because we use a lot of choreographed routines in our training. So here you see Keith and I doing various knife drills and stick drills here. And this is pure choreography. You know, we free flow a little bit in here, and there's elements of free flow in these drills. But for the most part, we know exactly what we're gonna do. You know, Keith doesn't know when I'm gonna break into this close range stuff that you see from Balintawak there. But for the most part, we have trained together for a long time and have developed an innate ability to choreograph and free flow with each other on the fly. You know, these choreographed routines are the catalyst for this. They are the base for this. And while choreography is more in tune with, say, a discipline like dance, every single martial art has an element of choreographed routines within it because it is a very good way to train. There are very few systems that don't have some element of choreography involved. Boxing and Muay Thai have choreographed combinations that we use to practice, and choreographed training drills where we give and take techniques and practice defense, etc. This is not quite the same as Filipino martial arts because Filipino martial arts does so much of this two-person choreographed drilling. But then it becomes free flow. And on top of these kinds of drills where we go into this free flow, we also spar. At least most people do. Most Filipino martial artists have to spar. I mean, if you don't, how do you test your techniques? So sparring is a big part of most Filipino martial artists' training, just like anyone who trains combat sports. For me, target training and sparring are a huge part of my training. And when I spar, you don't see a lot of this kind of application, but you see pieces of it. You know, by repeating basic techniques in a less than basic choreographed drill, we get to repeat. And every time we touch hands, these are points of contact or reference points, and understanding what to do from that reference points, programming our body to do something from those reference points, makes these drills very valuable. Also, the pure enjoyment of training this way keeps us coming back keeps us doing it over and over again, keeps us repeating. It never really gets boring for me to play these drills, so I keep playing them. I keep improving on them. I keep trying to get better, even though I'm now 60 years old, or at least I will be in a few months. And I see no reason to stop doing this. You know, sparring, boxing may be too hard on an old geezer like me, especially if there's lots of head contact, which is kind of dangerous once you become an older fighter, because the danger of brain bleeds become a bigger risk for older fighters. I have seen escrimadores in their 70s, even their 80s, who could still show absolutely incredible movement and speed and coordination. That's because these drills aren't too hard on the body, and you can keep doing them at a later age. This is my art that I will practice until I am no longer able to move my body. This is the beauty of Filipino martial arts. It's also the trap if you don't train beyond this, but it is one of the things that make this an art for all ages. Anyone can do it, even at advanced ages. Thank you. Have a great day.